I have been thinking about the Jackson brothers, the four of the Yakovich, actually, who came to America. There was one left behind because by agreement he would take care of the elderly parents. His name was Israel. I saw his picture several times. Uh, I could not tell much about him, except that he obviously worked whatever needed to be done in the mill or gardens to complete whatever work needed to be done in the little shtetl they all lived. The first Jackson who came to America was Lewis. He was the oldest. He made his way to a homestead where he worked in the mill 12 hours a day at a small payment that probably was $12 a week. From that, he was able to send money back home. Lewis was a singer, a poet, a humorist who kidded his brothers. But the other side of him was that he was unable to do well for his family. He tried businesses after he gave up working in the mill. The first thing that I remember was that he had a furniture store. He had to give that up, and he came to Aliquippa at Dad's insistence. He tried a variety store, and that didn't work. And he may have tried other things, but it wasn't until the United States was in World War II where the price of eggs was stabilized. So he bought a chicken farm in New Jersey and was able to make a very decent living. He gloried on the farm. He had at last found himself. He was happy. He worked often during the day, but it changed his personality so that his happiness really came to the fore. The next to come to America was Dad. Dad was the leader among the four Jackson brothers. He seemed to have wisdom. He had good judgment. He was a hard worker. He encouraged his brothers to do hard, and they asked him for advice, which he gave, and as far as I could tell, it made good sense. It was up to him to collect money to send to Russia. It was up to him to buy dresses for his sisters in Russia. And when the brothers got together, played pinochle, he took money out of that to mail the dresses to his sister. I knew him as a hard worker. As a community, hard worker in the shul, in the community efforts to improve Aliquippa. He had a good reputation for paying his debts, for being a hard worker. The other two brothers came to America through Canada. They came together from Poland. I remember Uncle Joe, who was next in line. He was kind of heavy set, very quiet, jealous of the other three brothers. He thought they conspired against him, did not pay too much attention to him. I remember him as somber, quiet, rarely smiling, and I knew that when the brothers got together to play pinochle, he was the one who would throw in his cards and could complain that his brothers conspired against him. That was nearly always that took place when the brothers got together and played cards. I remember him when I spent part of my vacations in Aliquippa, in Ford City, where he and Aunt Minnie lived. They had no children, but he took me to work with him in the morning, or I would get up late, bounce a ball against the lumberyard doors across the street, and then proceed down to his store. He didn't care that I read all the books, Horatio Alger books, or that I played with the toys that had sand or marbles. He let me do whatever I want. In the middle of the afternoon, he would give me a nickel to buy an ice cream cone. Still, he never smiled. In the evening, when I watched TV, he would read the Yiddish newspaper or a Yiddish book. Uncle Sam was the youngest. Unfortunately, he was addicted to smoking. I remember he moved into my room when we lived in the apartment on Franklin Avenue in Aliquippa. At night, he would get up, coughing and spitting, and finally, to put himself to sleep, he would play the violin. His addiction really got hold of him, so that his shortness of breath grew worse, and he had to spend his winters in Tucson, Arizona, where the winters of Aliquippa and Irwin, Pennsylvania, where he lived, did not take hold of him. He never gained any weight. He was very thin. He was tanned from his stay in Arizona, but he too giggled to cover up his unfortunate addiction, and finally, as he grew more and more short of breath, he was taken off by a heart attack. Thus, I remember my uncle's difference in appearance, in attitude, in their ambitions, in their personalities, in their emotional state. Through it all, they maintained closeness and their recognition that they were part of the family.